Well, hey everybody. Okay, today I'm going to show you how to make a book purse. And what you want to do is find a really old version of a book that you're not going to have any use for. And you want to cut the sections of the book out. Now, I'm just going to use an X-Acto knife. And one thing you really got to be careful of is not to cut through all the way the spine of the book. So we're just going to cut right through here. And then you just want to help it to separate. But remember now, you don't want to cut all the way through. And sometimes you can just look in there and you can see where you're cutting. So just take your time. And sometimes it helps just to pry it open a little bit so you can see what you're doing. And be real careful that you don't cut your finger. See? Now we've cut through that part. We'll flip it over to the other side. And we're just going to cut right on through. Sometimes it's a little easier if you kind of open it and take a peek at it. Okay. So as you can see, right there is where I'm going to cut right through. Hopefully I don't cut my finger off. So yeah, just go all the way through. Might be better with a utility knife, something a little bit thicker. Because remember now, you're cutting through all this glue that's already there. But be careful. This is a knife. It's really sharp. And you don't want to cut yourself. There we go. Okay, so we've cut all the way through our book. And you have these book pages that are left. Don't throw these away. Save these for another project. I'm going to set that aside. Be on safety side. Put my X-Acto knife away. So, there's your book. Now, I actually have another book that's ready to go that I've already measured for. Because there's a couple of preparation things you've got to do once you've cut your book out. Now, what I did was I took some duct tape. And remember this seam right in here in your book? Well, I put some duct tape in there just to reinforce it. Just so it would be stronger. And you're not going to, although you're not going to see this, they do have some really, really pretty duct tape. And I'll show you what I did for another book. I actually had kind of cut through the spine all the way. So I just used it to reinforce the outside. And I put a couple of extra pieces of tape on the inside. But this is a different type of book purse. So we're not making that one right now. But anyway, so just take some duct tape and reinforce the insides so it won't come apart. Okay, so now there's a few things that you need to cut out. You've got your book already prepared. So you need to trace a pattern because you want to have these sides in your book purse so that your stuff won't fall out. Okay, so the easiest way to do that, I've seen it done where some people, how do you say, they do a lot of measurements, and I just don't want to go through all the measurements. And if you want to make sure you cut a straight line, a little trick I use is to just kind of put it right at the corner of your paper. And just open it up to the width that you want it to be. I'll show it to you this way. So if I'm lining it up on the corner here, and I know, okay, I want it to open up about that far, then that would be the size of the pattern piece that you're going to cut out on a plain paper. I'm going to turn this around this way. It's a little bit easier to show you how to do it when I have it facing me. So I'm just going to line my little edges and corners up to the opening size I want. Then just take a pencil and just draw, just trace right around. Okay? And then you have this piece that you want to go ahead and cut out of paper, because this is going to be your pattern. And this project is a wee bit forgiving in how you do things. I'm going to actually show you the one that I had already cut out for the book previously. I actually went a little bit longer because I wanted to be able to fold out my pieces. Okay, so once you got your pattern for your inside book seams, then you need to cut 4 of these. Okay, so I just fold a piece of fabric that I have. This is already folded once, twice. Okay, so what you're going to do is take your pattern piece. And another little trick is if you cut on the fold, you won't have to do any sewing on that seam. It's just a little tiny thing, but it makes your stuff look so much nicer. Okay, you're going to pin it down to the fabric, of course, before you cut. But another thing that you want to do, you really want to cut out about a 1/4 inch to the edge here, because that way when you stitch it, it'll have a seam and it'll fit the book exactly. So you got to cut out a little bit more. Otherwise, if you cut directly on this pattern line, then it's going to be a little bit smaller than you anticipated. Okay, so that's fairly easy. You'll see what I mean when you do it. So now I already have my pattern pieces that I cut out, and let me see if I can open this up and show you on the inside. I should have left one open, but as you can see, that's about a 1/4 of an inch right there that I stitched, and then I flipped it inside out, and now I have these 2 pieces. So just gonna open the book up, and this is where these are gonna go. This is how you construct it. Oh, one more pattern piece you've got to cut out before you get started. And you want to make sure you have everything all together first. This is just a piece of plain piece of fabric. Now, how I got the exact size, I actually laid the fabric You're only going to need 1 piece of fabric for this part. So, what you want to do is you need, remember now, you're measuring for a piece of fabric that will fit on the inside of the book. But you've got to cut a little bit, maybe about a 1/2 inch, a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 of an inch, whatever you're comfortable with. You might want to start with the 1/2 inch, because then if it's too big or not quite right, you can always go a little bit smaller. And as you can see, even mine, where I just took the iron and pressed, they aren't that exact all the way around, but I guarantee you it does fit the inside of this book, as you will see. Okay, so you lay your book down on a piece of fabric, and you can either trace or you can freehand just cut a 1/4 inch all the way around. You could, of course, take a ruler and measure. If this book is actually 12.5 inches, then I would actually cut 12.5 inches. Let's see, wait, by, looks like a little bit more than 7.5, like 7 3/4. So I would actually, if I was cutting this piece of fabric, I would measure about a 1/2 inch on either side all the way around, so that I can turn it and hem it so it'll fit exactly. Because as you see, this piece of fabric is going to fit directly on the inside of the book. I know you're seeing something peeking out there, but you're not going to see that in a minute. Okay, so now comes the good part, the fun part. Oh, I'm sorry, a couple more things you got to have. Okay, so you've got all your pattern pieces. You've got 2 of these, which are going to be your wings, and this is going to be the inside of your purse. Okay, so let's set that aside. Let me show you what else you'll need.